Thanks for checking in on the State of Basketball Podcast, episode 102. I'm Adam Miller, and I'm here with Jaren Will each and every week, and we are going to be bringing you the news and notes on all 11 Division I schools in the state of Indiana, because in 49 states,
it's just basketball.
Apologies for the little bit of a late start. Our unpaid intern forgot how computers work. It was a crazy thing, but...
Just digging the hole deeper and deeper.
I know, like...
Getting further and further away from being
paycheck.
paid.
Yeah, you want to get paid? We want to go live on time. Let's meet in the middle. If we don't get what we want, you don't get what you want. All right. But we are back. Week 1 is in the books. All of our teams are finished playing, and it was an eventful one. We made a kind of last minute trip out to Valpo. We just kind of the night before, we're like, you know what? We could do it.
Yeah.
It's a 7 p.m. local, 8 p.m. Eastern tip. We could make it there in time. And we ended up doing that, so we'll talk about that during our Valpo section. But first week was good. Some teams were surprising. And I think the story of at least the first couple of days was the IU Indy Jaguars. Everyone was talking about them. So, we're going to go through our regular thing. We'll do the rankings. We'll talk about each team, and then we'll dive into a little bit of the 49 states. Not too much. I probably would have more to say about the 49 states if I could quad box like a normal person, but
yeah,
the streaming wars, the live TV wars are raging, and
but we are getting a $20 credit from YouTube TV.
There we go.
On the next bill. Want to know when I got billed? They announced that today.
Yesterday.
I got billed like 2 days ago.
Oh, no.
Next bill, I will receive a $20 credit, and
they need to just
allegedly the price will go down.
Yeah, if their price doesn't go down, they're gonna see. I mean, they're gonna see so many people just drop. But
I mean, we've already considered it. We share an account.
They just canceled your account for saying that.
We live in the same house, so that's why we share it.
It's true. I mean, look at us right now.
Yeah. See. And we've debated just going to the individual services, getting ESPN Unlimited and Fox One, and then Paramount Plus, I guess, for all the CBS things.
And Peacock we have.
Yeah, Peacock we've got already, so we've got NBC covered.
It's just so annoying because it's been so convenient for YouTube TV, and
that was like YouTube TV's big thing is like for cord cutters, like we are, like instead of subscribing to 5 different platforms, let's go ahead and give you this YouTube TV product that's not cable, but gives you everything in a cable format. And here we are, 10 years later, and we're going back to being cord cutters again.
And the problem is, like, we really don't have to go into this but like the problem is that like ESPN's the problem here. ESPN's the problem here because they want their streaming service to make money, and so it's all them. And like even if it goes on, even if they go back and are on YouTube TV, the price will go up because YouTube TV is going to have to pay them more. It's ridiculous. So the whole thing's annoying, but we've got different power rankings this week, Jaren. So let's get into those because I think people want to see where things are shaken up and why.
Yes. So this week's power ranking, starting at 11, got Southern Indiana. So a bit of a drop from last week where they were previously at 8, but that is mostly because the teams that were below them moved above them. 10, we've got IU Indy. They had a great showing this week. Really put the world on the map, as you can tell by our episode title. Not the world on the map, but the world on notice. They put themselves on the map.
They're cartographers.
At 9, we've got Indiana State, where they were previously at 7, so they dropped a little bit as well. 8 is Evansville, who dropped a couple spots from 6. Purdue Fort Wayne is 7, where they were previously 5th.
I think all of those just dropped like 1 or 2, right? But that's mostly because somebody...
it's
not so much they dropped it, someone jumped them.
So
they weren't punished.
At 6, the biggest change here is Valpo. They were previously at 10. They're one of those ones that did jump up quite a bit due to performance. 5 is Ball State. They as well, previously at 9, made that jump. So really, Ball State and Valpo moved up quite a few spots, which then inherently caused the other few to drop down as well, kind of accommodate for that. Can't have multiple teams at the same line as much as we would like to. So they'd all be one, really.
One and then one. They'd all be 1A, 1B would be Maryland Eastern Shore.
Yep.
Dude, I think didn't even score 30 points in a game this week. But
we're not talking about that right now. At 4, we've got Butler. They stayed the same. At 3 is Notre Dame, also maintaining that spot. A big shakeup here for the first time in what feels like a year.
I think it was like since week 1 or 2 last year.
Yeah,
it basically should have been a 2-year clean sweep of Purdue at 1.
Yeah,
if we hadn't have taken a risk with our power rankings preseason.
Yeah, last season. Yep. But at 2 is Purdue, where they were previously 1, and then at the 1 spot is Indiana. Up spot.
Mm-hmm. And I think basically once we have actual games to look at, it's all resume based in our opinion. And then a little bit of it is like, okay, how did they look, or when things are like close.
Yeah. Like resume / plus minus eye test. Yeah.
And the Indiana Purdue one was a big one. That was like, okay, Purdue looked good against Evansville, but then didn't look like the Purdue that we thought how they would look against Oakland. But Indiana looked really good against Marquette. Like Indiana has a Power 5 win. Purdue, obviously by the way that they scheduled, didn't play a Power 5 team, so they can't have a Power 5 win.
Yeah.
This could completely change because Purdue has a big game coming up this week, and then that would, then probably cause them to jump again. But at where it stands right now, Indiana has the best win, and they've looked the best. Not saying that, long term it's going to stay that way, but that's just kind of why that is. And
there's a reason it is a weekly power ranking. We obviously do factor in previous experience when it comes down to, like, when we get to the middle of the season, right? We're going to factor in,
every week.
Yeah. Every week.
It's where they all stand, we take in everything for the whole season.
At this point, we've only got 1 week to work with.
Mm-hmm. And then the biggest jumpers were biggest risers were Ball State and Valpo. The first 6 teams here are the only teams with Division I wins. And Ball State and Valpo, we thought Ball State has a better win than Valpo. And they didn't lose at all this week, so that, we rewarded them for that. So kind of why it's not so much of like PFW Evansville, Indiana State moved down. It's that Ball State and Valpo had a really good showing, so they moved up. Not really punishing someone for, not having as many opportunities. But let's kind of talk about our, school by school breakdown. We obviously always go in alphabetical order, except for that one curse time. So let's talk about Ball State. They went up in our power rankings and in the Torvik rankings. So in the human poll and the computer poll, they went up from 230 to 226. They went 2-0. They are 2-0 on the season. Obviously, this is the first week of the season. That's just their record. They won over Louisiana in the MAC Sunbelt Challenge. They won that game 75-64. And then they beat D2, NAIA, D3, D2, Mansfield, 84-54. Non-Division I Mansfield, 84-54, as you would expect. And so 2 wins, 1 against the Division I team. I think Louisiana's like top 200 or thereabouts. So a pretty good win. And, the thing that I took away from this is, one, Mick Tidrow's awesome, and he calls the game just so well. Like, it always makes me want to listen to Ball State or watch and listen to Ball State games because he's so good on the call. But then also Davion Hill is just like kind of that bucket getter. He's the bucket getter that the team kind of needs to just keep them out of a close game or get them, down from a 1-point deficit. And when the shot clock's winding down, he's a guy you can just give it to. So he was really impressive to me in the very first week.
The logo is really small. It's like Mansfield is Division II.
Okay.
They're in the PSAC conference.
It was just a funny visual.
Just me putting my...
Yeah, if you aren't watching, Jaren just put his computer about 3 inches from his face.
Instead of zooming in on the computer, which I guess I could have done pretty easily.
Yeah,
I physically zoomed in just to get that close up view to see.
No, man, I liked it. I appreciate it. Normally the people don't get to see that because that's usually when you're remote remoting into your desktop to see something really small that you need to like check or something before we go live. But little peek behind to see the real Jaren. But Davion Hill, he's a baller, and I think he's going to continue to be a baller for this team. Didn't shoot a ton of threes, but they made 8 of them, and just a really great rally. It was like back and forth for 35 minutes. They rallied at the end and kind of made it, like it was obviously an 11-point game, but like they really just put them away in the last 5 minutes and didn't leave any doubt that they were going to win that game, which is a very nice thing to see from a Michael Lewis team.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the big thing, like my biggest takeaway, right? They've got 4 dudes that are going to be their go-to high things. There's Armani Ziegler, Davion Hill, right?
Yeah.
That's going to be the 1-2 punch. But then we've got Cam Denson and Elmar James IV coming off the bench to kind of add to that. I think it's going to be really great. The team's really going to go as those four go, and I think that's great. You've got your 2 main scorers on the starting lineup, your 2 main scorers that are coming off the bench to kind of
that are really going to contribute.
That, yeah. Little fun fact though, Ball State is 3-0 in home MAC Sunbelt Challenge games.
Nice. And then
they've played 3 and they have not lost.
I don't know what they are at the away ones, but
we don't care about that. We care about home.
That's that's not even relevant to the stat.
That's
honestly,
a non-important stat.
Then they beat Mansfield, like we said. They went on a 36-8 run to kind of end the game and really put them away after letting them hang around for a little bit, but just shut them down in the end of the game and handled business like they should. So that was Ball State's week. Let's move on to a team that had probably the most interesting slate of games, at least to us, was Butler. They also rose in Torvik from 87 to 83. They had 2 wins, and the reason why it's the most interesting slate in my mind is because they played 2 of the 11 best teams in the country, Southern Indiana, who they beat 88-58, and then IU Indy, they beat them 112 to 80, and they're obviously, started out with 2 exhibitions against Indiana teams and then 2 real games against Indiana teams. So really cool to see that happen, and I thought that they had a really impressive showing. Just really didn't leave any like any doubt that they were going to win these games. And especially, I think the one that people were talking about was the IU Indy one. It's an in-state, it's an intra-city game as well.
Intra
is like within, inter is out. Yeah.
There's always semantics like that. Always blew my mind.
Yeah, so an intra-squad scrimmage is you guys, and inter-squad is more people. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, a good thing here. Michael Ajayi is, I think, going to be a Big East player. He's really good, dude.
He came out. I wasn't sure who their best player was going to be. My bias said Jalen Jackson just because I saw him shine at the at Purdue Fort Wayne for multiple years. But then Ajayi went out there, game 1. It's like, okay,
yeah. He's like last year was a fluke.
He came from Gonzaga, right?
Yeah, and that was like his fluky year.
But like, still, the fact that you were playing at Gonzaga, like if you're being recruited by Mark Few, you're good.
I don't remember. I don't remember where the heck he came from. Before that.
I will say, while you're looking that up, we do have Champy in the chat on YouTube. Very hot take, in my opinion. Arizona Wildcats look the best team.
They were pretty good. Yeah.
I mean, we saw them against Florida, and they got the job done. And Florida is also a great team. For sure, going to be interesting to see how things shake up.
Co-Pete's ridiculous.
When the AP rankings come.
But he was at Pepperdine his freshman year, and he averaged 17.2 points. Last year at Gonzaga, he
was hurt.
He just didn't play much. It just kind of didn't click. I don't know, it was the system or what. He played about almost 20 minutes and averaged 6.5 points. I mean, like, shot well. 3-point percentage is not very good, but this year he's at 17.5 points already per game. 3-point percentage, not very high, but very efficient for 2.
Great rebounder as well.
He's only averaging 13.
Right. And that's like one of my big takeaways is we talked. I specifically have talked for the last 2 years. It feels like about this team and rebounding, and
yeah, it's been such a problem.
Yeah, and that's to me so far. Granted, they played Southern Indiana and IU Indy, teams that aren't as big. They're really athletic teams. And athleticism helps with the rebounding when you don't have the size.
Right.
But hence, Ajayi. But the way they rebounded through both those games, they out-rebounded by like 20 in each game, which is just absurd. Can't tell you the last time.
Dude, they had in the IU Indy game, the IU Indy had 32 rebounds. I mean, it was obviously skewed because there were a ton of shots in this game.
Yeah.
IU Indy had 32 rebounds. Butler had 59. They almost doubled. 60 rebounds is absurd.
Yeah.
That's
some Oscar Sheboy.
Yeah, you almost see 60 rebounds combined in games. Like, that's ridiculous. And obviously that's based on how the game was. But like, that's crazy. And they didn't hit their free throws at a high rate in the IU Indy game either. Like, Butler didn't. They didn't shoot a good free throw percentage. But I think an underrated thing in the IU Indy game is Jalen Jackson, because we've seen how, like, PFW likes to run. If they can get out in transition, they get out in transition, and they were in transition a lot in the IU Indy game, and Jalen Jackson knows exactly how to handle, transition offense. And kind of, how many times last year did we see them down, PFW down by a couple of points, and he just comes down, pulls up 3, drains it, pulls up, goes right to the rim or something. Like, he just is good at that, and I think that kind of suited him, and Butler was clearly ready for the craziness.
I think another takeaway I had for this team so far is, like, in the past few years, right, they really had kind of a 1-2 punch in scoring, whether it was Pierre Brooks
in
Telford or McCaffrey and Brooks, whatever that looked like, right? Well, so far, what I've seen, at least, and granted, again, lesser opponents than they'll play throughout the season. It kind of extends beyond that. Like, it's like the scoring is more sporadic. You've got guys who are like, yes, you're gonna have Ajayi, but then you'll have like Jackson one game, or then Traore one game, or Bizjack, and it's just like all of their guys are eating.
Yeah. And I mean, like, just looking at like their top 8 guys, it's like Stink Robinson was really good.
Yep.
He's really good. Obviously their starting 5 is good too. They can all pop off, but like Jack McCaffrey can get going. Traore can get going. Evan Haywood, like anybody on this team can get going. And I think that is going to be so beneficial as the season goes on. And then, the USI game, just like one thing about that is, I mean, I thought it was going to be like a 15-point game maybe. I thought Southern Indiana was going to.
I thought their athleticism was really going to help them.
Yeah, I thought, their defense would hold them in there. Obviously, they're undersized compared, but like they started the game on a 17-0 run. Like, it was Gerard had to pull 2 timeouts before like this under 16. It was crazy.
Yeah.
So IU Indy hung around a lot longer, but like when they pulled away, they really pulled away and really handled business. I was really impressed with Butler this week. Obviously, 300 ranked opponents, but still, like, this is really good for the metrics when it comes, the net and selection time, to see that you didn't let them hang around.
Yeah. Let's move on to Evansville. Evansville, they are presently ranked 228 in Torvik. That is down 3 spots from 225. They did go 2-1 this week, so they lost at Purdue 82-51. They won over Calumet College of St. Joseph 92-50, and then they won over Oakland City, the Mighty Oaks. Their mascot.
That's really what it is.
Yeah, it's the Oakland City Mighty Oaks. I read it earlier. And I thought I said Mighty Ducks. I was like, what? They won over Oakland City 76-47. Talk to us about those games.
Um,
What do you have? I got a few things.
well,
What do you
I
have?
didn't watch the Oakland City game because I was not home. But the Purdue game, I thought that they would be able to take advantage of the fact that Trey Kaufman-Renn wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
They shot four free throws, made 2 of them. So their style of play was not conducive to getting into the paint at all.
Yeah.
And Purdue really pushed them out. I mean, Josh Hughes is pretty good, but I think Turnbull was out in this game, right?
Yeah, so Turnbull was out for this game, and I think that the game looks a lot different, but I think it's a lot closer. I think it's maybe, 15, 20-point game instead of a 30-point game with Turnbull, if not closer, right? I mean, he is the returning MVC, Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
And needed some little extra defensive help,
Yeah.
I think, at points
and some
in this
rebounding.
game.
They needed a lot.
Yeah. But I could see, I just seen that outcome, like this Purdue team. Talk about that about here, but they really could have run away with it. And the fact that Evansville, I say stayed in, I mean 30-point loss, but like Purdue is a really good team, and they held them to 82. Purdue's a team that can score over 100 probably any game.
Brayfield said that he
would
be averaging 100 points.
Yeah, so I'm looking at that game like with a grain of salt. I was really impressed with the Calumet College game. Same with the Oakland City game. Turnbull did come back. He came off the bench against Calumet College at St. Joseph, and then he was back. He was back in the starting lineup for Oakland City. So resting against during the Purdue game, did some rest minutes, kind of off the bench, limited time against Calumet College, and then back to every day.
And no offense, I mean, if you're probably smart call, if he was like questionable and like could have gone against Purdue, you're gonna be banged up.
Yeah,
you're gonna be banged up. Going out there,
they're gonna play physical. They're gonna be in you. It's
that's
smart.
That's gonna be a tough one to come back to. And it's not like. I mean, I don't think that's enough. Turnbull's enough for them to win the game. Like, I don't think he's a 30-point difference maker. But against Purdue, Alex Hemingway, local kid to Evansville, thought he was going to be better. Didn't really perform well at all, and then came back and had 21 points, 8 of 10 shooting, and 5 for 5 from 3, which is a career high for him, which is really cool.
That was against Calumet.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, so that was their second game. Love that. Love, that he was able to play how we thought he was going to play. Obviously, going up against the #1 team of the country in the very first game is a tough ask when you've got some really good players on that side. So
yeah. Biggest takeaway on the week: kids rock.
Yeah,
kids rock.
Kids rock, not Kid Rock.
Yes, kids. Against Calumet, they did an education day where they did a little field trip action, brought in the local schools. Score hit 67. Crowd went crazy as you would expect. Gone are the days of the race to 69.
That's how I'm Unk.
Now it's the race to 67.
I'm definitely Unk, bro. If sitting there like, guys, we did it early. it's early. Yeah, and I think more schools need to do this. Like, it's just such a cool thing. If you want to build lifelong fans,
for sure,
bring in the elementary school kids, because you're probably not filling, like, against a non-D1 team, you're not filling those seats anyway. The Ford Center is huge. It's put a day game, non-D1 team. Get thousands of kids in there. They'll talk about that forever. Those kids are going to talk about that moment forever.
Yeah.
And like, they'll be like, remember when we got to go to the Ford Center and we all went crazy? Just so cool. And like, you really do, like, it makes you invest in the community. It makes the community care about you back.
Especially when you hang over almost 100.
Yeah. And then, the people will say, like, the kids will be like, hey, Mom, can we go to an Evansville game? Like, I really liked it.
Yeah.
I think it's just a good thing for the community and the program, and their impact in the community. So I'd like to see more of that. And we'll talk about that a little bit later because we are going to be at one of those games.
Yes. But now it's time for our Hickory Team of the Week, Indiana. Bringing it back, as we talked about last year, the Hickory Team of the Week is really the team that we determine is the most, I don't want to say successful, but had the best performance overall.
The most impressive
The most
team.
impressive performance of the week. And this week we felt it was Indiana. They did. They moved up a bunch of spots in Torvik,
15.
right? So they are currently 26th in Torvik. They were 41. They went 2-0 this week. They had a huge win over Alabama A&M, 98-51, and then a massive win over Marquette, 100-77. This team really, what we saw from them was just a breath of fresh air from the last few years of Indiana basketball. The narrative around the state lately has been that Indiana's a football school.
Mm-hmm.
I think this team really has something to say about that. They might just be both. They might just be a football and a basketball school, and that is okay with us. I think it's okay with a lot of people in the state because it seems that Indiana's back. And that's what I think college basketball needs.
College basketball is better when Indiana's better. And whatever curse we thought was on the program might not have actually been a curse.
Yeah.
Might have just been a coach or
Yeah.
two. Turns out when you get a guy who can recruit shooters and have a scheme that is conducive to shooters, they shoot. They shoot well. It was just like they won over Alabama A&M 98-51. It's like, wow, that was really impressive. They almost hung 100, and then they go out the next game and they beat Marquette 100-77.
Mind you, in both games, the last 4 minutes of the game were played with walk-ons.
Yeah.
Not entirely walk-ons, but like
Indiana emptied their bench.
Yeah, DeVries plays a 7 to 8 person kind of rotation.
And has to because of injuries, you know.
Yeah. And they cleared the bench in both games. Or they emptied the bench. I think clear the bench is more of a negative connotation. That's like
they emptied the bench.
They fight and they emptied the bench. Put guys in. Very well could have hung 100 on Alabama A&M, but you missed shots from the freshmen and walk-on. I guess not even freshmen, but kind of the walk-ons and more, deep bench folks. They were almost didn't think they were going to hit 100 against Marquette for the same reason. And then
I pre-jacked a tweet that said the team's going in Indiana hitting over 100 points. And I tweeted that like 4 minutes left when they had like 91. I was like, they're 100% going to they're 100% going to do it. And then he texted me and I was like, oh no.
Yeah, there was a couple of missed shots at 98. The clock was getting eerily small. Then I think one of the walk-ons hit a bucket at the shot clock buzzer, which was nice. Tucker DeVries got his 2000th career point. That was against Marquette. He was 1 point shy against Alabama A&M when he was pulled out, and I respect that. Right, like out of Jaren DeVries, he could have kept his son in for those extra minutes to get his 2000th career point in front of the home crowd, but like he understood the situation that they were in. Right,
and
he understood
also
that
could have broken both his legs.
Right, right. So it's just one of those things. It's like Matt Painter not putting
Braden Smith
in to get a rebound or whatever to get the triple double. It's just the smart thing. I think that there are other coaches that Indiana has had that maybe wouldn't have had that much. I don't want to say foresight, but they wouldn't have done that. One, would Indiana have been in this position?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Tucker DeVries would have had to play 40 minutes.
Yeah.
No, it was just so cool, and like they shot a perfect from the free throw line, shot 10 of 24 from three, like above 40%. We haven't seen that. We haven't seen that in a long time, especially with this not like 24 attempts, in a long time.
Not a single midi.
Yeah. And then the Marquette game, Tucker DeVries just absolutely went nuclear in the first half. Would have played more, but had some foul trouble in the second half. He had 27 points. Lamar Wilkerson had 23 points, 8 assists, and not even a single turnover. Like, that's tough. Like, that's tough to do because Marquette is a very defensive team. Like, not having a turnover is very impressive against Marquette, but having 8 assists and I think Tate and Conaway had 8 assists as well. So like they were slinging the rock and just hitting all their shots, 50% from the floor, 50% from three, and like they looked good against Marquette. I don't think is as good as they have been in the past couple of years.
Right.
But I think they're still going to be, top half of the Big East. Like they're still a good.
I mean, they were
team.
preseason top. They were preseason 5th in the Big East, right?
Yeah.
So like, I guess there's only 11 teams. Really top half, but
still top half. I mean, Butler looked really good, and they're supposed to be better than Butler. So like really really good performance for them, and I think that's why it was just like you could just see like. It was like basketball game in like Indiana. It was like basketball game went really well. Everyone kind of it was like a sigh of relief. Like, oh, like we can actually get excited about this. Like this is gonna be awesome. And then the football team wins, and everyone's like, oh, thank God. Like let's just hopefully we win this basketball game. And then you stomp on Marquette, and it's like, oh, what a great week. Like, what a great weekend in Indiana sports.
I do, and the Colts even had a overtime win today.
Yeah,
that's great. Even great week. One thing that stood out to me watching these games this week is a lot of people were saying how Tucker was very underrated as a transfer prospect. Right, didn't play much at all last year. Obviously, was really good at Drake.
Just don't ask a West Virginia. Don't ask a West Virginia fan.
Yeah, but a lot of people are saying like he's okay after game one that was probably the most underrated transfer in the portal or one of them. I really think that Sam Alexis was even more underrated. Not a guy that won a national championship last year at Florida, didn't play much, but the dude when he's on the court, you can feel his impact. You can see his impact.
Energy.
He's a workhorse. He knows how to win. Like his presence in and of itself is incredible. Just like the aura that he gives off when he's on the court. So I really think that he's going to be an impact player. I mean, we were talking about it earlier off air. He's currently not a starter. Played more minutes today being Sunday against Marquette, than Reed Bailey. He's really kind of that sub for Reed, who's in the starting lineup. I think in a few weeks we might see Sam Alexis as a starter. They're about the same size. Obviously, Reed Bailey can stretch the floor a little bit more than Sam Alexis, but just the energy and impact that he makes, I really think is, it's great off the bench. But I would not be surprised to see him in the starting lineup in the near future as things kind of begin to shake out.
Yeah. Now Indiana State this week went down a little bit in Torvik. They're at 253 is where they're sitting now. They started the week at 242. They had a 1-1 record. They lost at Charlotte 92-76, and then they won at home over Illinois Tech 104-73. So they had a bye game against a non-Division I team this week. That was Illinois Tech. And, missing the head coach, you never know what's going to happen. But the defensive effort in the first game was just not, in the Charlotte game, was just not what I wanted it to be. I mean, Charlotte was just like they were shooting over 50% from three in the first half. They just were knocking everything down, and Indiana State could not chase them off the 3-point line. Marcus Harding couldn't stay out of foul trouble. Like the bright spot for me, it's like it was Ian Scott. Like that, I said this, like you can just tell that Scott Moore coached this kid, and like Scott Moore would probably say like, no, like he's always been like this. Like that's just the kid that he is. But like looking at just how he was, just like no, like he just know, like you can just tell he's been so well coached that he can do every little thing.
Yeah,
and I don't think he's going to be the leading scorer on this team. I think he's going to be the most consistent player and consistent scorer on this team. Like he probably won't have 25 one game, but he'll have like 13, 14.
Yeah.
Almost every single game.
Yeah.
And, he'll be one of those guys that I think falls into buckets by just getting a rebound and being ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, my notes, Ian Scott, need I say more? Dude's a baller. Ian Scott's a baller. What?
Yeah.
What's...
No,
I mean, did you watch him play in both those games? Like, the impact that he makes is, like you were saying, is tremendous.
Yeah, I mean, he had 24 and 11 in the first game, like incredible.
First game at the Division I level.
Yeah, I think he fits right in, and he's just a really really seemingly good player who just gets the basketball on such a deep level. So Illinois Tech, I mean, Sterling Young had 20 points, but I mean, there's not really a lot to dwell on here for a non-D1 opponent. So let's move on.
So IU Indy, they moved up several spots in Torvik. They're 353, up from 361. They did unfortunately go 0-3 this week. They lost at Ohio State 118 to 102. They lost to Long Island in a very close game, 94-90. And they lost at Butler 112 to 80, which we briefly touched on. But the biggest thing, they took 3 losses, but I in my opinion took a major win. In the sense, like, we've got it in our title, right? They put the world on notice. They went out there and showed this exciting brand of basketball that you just don't see. The system that they run is just line changes. When's the last time a basketball team had line changes when it's not like 5 minutes left, up by 30, but emptying the bench, right? This is just like the normal thing. They sub in and out their guys because they're running up and down the court 94 feet every possession.
They're giving 100% effort. You know?
We talked about this, right, with Coach Howlett back in May.
Like, he teaches you when you think you're playing hard, you're not actually playing hard.
Right.
Like, I'll show you how to play hard. Like,
yeah. So I think even though they took 3 losses, right, very impressed in the Ohio State game. Obviously, not a lot of film, hard to scout it. So that an anomaly in the sense of it being Ohio State. The jury's still out. But I just.
Like, is Ohio State a team that wants to get out and run like that? I genuinely don't know.
Right.
Like, I probably won't watch Ohio State till Purdue or IU.
I'll probably watch at least 4 other Ohio State games this year.
No, VFW just went there, right?
Yeah, I'll probably at least, and I don't know if Purdue and Indiana both play Ohio State twice, but
at most probably 4.
Yeah, and until the NCAA tournament if they make it, or the Big Ten tournament if they're playing at a reasonable time. But we've just been telling people since May how electric this team is.
Yeah, dude, it just made me so mad on, what was this game, Monday night?
Yeah.
It made me so mad because, like, I knew, okay, when I saw the line and the over-under, I was like, this is the free, if you want, like, guaranteed money, take the over in this game. Like, I literally was telling people who don't even watch basketball, I was like, if you have a account, like, bet on, it is literally free money. It is literally free money to bet the over here. And it was. And, like, people,
and ironically, I forgot to place that.
People were just like, whoa, this is crazy. Is Ohio State bad? It's like, my Twitter fingers were blazing fast because I was just like, no, this is what IU Indy is. This is not IUPUI. This is IU Indy. And I was getting so mad. People were still refusing to call them IU Indy. They're making me so mad. It's just disrespectful. And I'm not gonna let that go. I'm gonna continue to fight the good fight for that.
I love that we're at the point where Luke Basso, the athletic director of IU Indy, put out a tweet that, like, the bullet points of, like, things you need to know.
We're not IU Indy, or we're not IUI. We're not IUPUI.
I loved that of all the schools, IU Indy is at that point because they've been for so long at the bottom of the college basketball world. Yeah, they've been disrespected for so long.
And you can see, okay, so, like, you see the vision here, right? They're playing super fast. I think, like, Ben Howlett did get hired later than others. He got hired way late in the season.
Yeah, like, his first day was May.
Yeah, it was very late. Like, pretty much all the recruits were gone. He only brought 4 of his guys. So, like, the system has to have everyone who knows how to run it, and it's run it flawlessly, and you will score a lot, and you will turn people over a lot, and you will win. And that's how it is. He only has 4 people that have run this before, so they are, like, it's not an easy thing to perfect. Like, it takes a lot of hard work, and you see it's there. Like, they're turning people over. like against Ohio State, against Long Island, they won the turnover battle. 23 turnovers, they only committed 14. Points off turnover, they had 24, Long Island had 22. They're getting the turnovers. They're not getting they're just not getting the ball in the bucket.
Yeah.
And their shooting percentages aren't great, but they are, like, I see it. Once they can figure out how to just do the other like 10% and get the ball in the hole, they're going to win a ton of games. And it, might not be this year. This year they might not have a ton of wins. I think they're going to win a decent amount in the Horizon League, but like right now they're getting out rebounded. Almost got doubled up by Butler. They're, not, capitalizing on all their turnovers that they're causing. But they're going to get there. Like, they're still new to the system. And Ben Howlett, after the Butler loss, is like, he was like, we had lost the game. We had lost the game, but we didn't give up, and we kept getting all the reps. We need all the reps we can because we only had 4 guys who played in the system. We need all the reps we can get, and those were very important, even though we had already lost the game.
You can tell the guys are starting to adapt to it. Like, you can see it. The system is clicking. It's just a matter of, like you said, the extra 10% of getting the buckets to actually fall into the hoop, right? Or when you make that 110% effort to dive for a ball, maintaining it, keeping the possession, and not it rolling off your fingers and going out of bounds type thing. Like it's
like you see these guys cut harder than anyone. Reading that and getting it to the right spot, because a lot of times they'll throw it and they'll just get intercepted like halfway through, which is understandable. And it's gonna come together, and it's gonna get there, and it's gonna get there by the end of this year. And then if you're willing to play hard and you want to, and you like, this is a very enticing thing, because you can be like, I averaged 25. Like, I averaged 25 points, and I got to sit on the bench a decent amount.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be really cool to see when it all comes together, and we're here fighting the good fight for IU Indy, because they're not IUPUI in name or in spirit or product that they put on the court. And I think that that's, the just thing to do. And, I'm just fired up about IU Indy, and that's why we're going to be there on Tuesday.
Correct.
In the Farmers Coliseum?
Yeah, Farmers Coliseum. Let's move on to Notre Dame. Notre Dame, they are 61 up, a couple spots from 64. They did go 2-0 this week. They had a win over Long Island, 89-67, and they won over Detroit Mercy, 102-70. Bend jerseys, sick.
I liked them. If people didn't like them, I liked them.
I don't know what's not to like about them. I thought they were sick.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's a lot of Notre Dame. Notre Dame just in general has a lot of tradition.
Yeah, yeah.
But like, I think that people are starting to be more receptive to that. Like, a Script Indiana basketball jersey would be crazy cool. They're not gonna happen. It's not. Like this, I liked the Bend jerseys a lot. I like alternate jerseys. The Evansville ones from last year were really cool. These ones are really cool. I liked them a lot.
Little City Connect hitting the college world.
Yeah. I liked it. Carson Tout, 19 rebounds against Long Island. Absurd.
Yeah. Like some Cam Boozer.
I'm gonna say something.
Okay.
He's putting his body on the line for these rebounds.
No. Next point. What else about the game?
Just like, does he work harder than the hardest working man in America?
Honestly, haven't looked at Iowa State's.
I don't know, man. I mean, 19 rebounds is 4 points. 4 points, 19 rebounds is hardest working man in America is like dream stat line.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
He's the leading rebounder in the country last year.
But the hardest working man in America, he spent years to get to that point. It's going to take some time for Carson to take on that name.
Yeah. Cole Serto was really good in the Long Island game. He had 22 points.
He hates me. He wanted nothing.
He was 6 for 9 from 3. Jalen Harrelson didn't play against Detroit Mercy, and then wasn't really incredible. Like, I'm waiting to see more from him.
Well, he also got concussed.
Yeah,
So that makes an impact.
But that was at practice, wasn't it?
No, it was 12 seconds into the second half. He
Okay.
got hit in the face, had to go get stitches in his eye.
That's right.
And went back in and played the second half. That's why he didn't play the Detroit Mercy game.
Okay. I'd like to see a little bit more from him in general.
Well, first game jitters, plus you get a concussion. That's going to impact your...
Shake some things loose. Burton only took 8 shots in the Detroit Mercy game. That might be the fewest he's taken in his college career, except for when he got hurt in the Players era. And honestly, he might have taken 8 before he got hurt. But Shrews had 19 points, good from 3. So 2 good wins. I mean, 2 good wins over, like, we saw this Long Island team go down to the wire with IU Indy. So we can say that Notre Dame is better than IU Indy based on that. But, pretty good showing for Notre Dame on the basketball court. Purdue-Fort Wayne, they had a bit of a tough week in scheduling and then a historic end to that week. They went from 194 down to 213 in Torvik. They went 1-2 this week. They lost at Grand Canyon 90-71, and they lost at Ohio State 94-68. Very similar scores there. And then they won at home versus Dominican, a D3 school, and they set a school record with scoring 137 points. They won that game 137-56.
One of the higher scoring games this season so far.
Will that be the highest score that we see this season?
Huh?
Yeah. Think about this. IU Indy can score 137 points. Or PFW can score 137 points. IU Indy has scored 102.
I think against a really bad...
Do you think that they merge and they just run? They played twice.
That's gonna. I already thought that game was gonna be fun, but after seeing this Dominican game, I think that that game's gonna be an absolute shootout. That's gonna be like Alabama, Kentucky.
Yeah. Speaking of Alabama, IU Indy would go nuts. Would go nuts.
I mean, we might see a glimpse of what it could look like next week with Alabama and Purdue, who's also a team that can score over 100 if TKR is healthy and ready to go. I will say this Purdue-Fort Wayne team is definitely a change of pace from the Dons of the past. Right, the last several years they've returned a lot of their players. Like we talked about this in our preseason or season preview of Purdue-Fort Wayne. There's just a lot of new players on this team, and I think it's just going to take a little bit more time to gel. And I'm mostly referring to the Ohio State and Grand Canyon game. I do think that they're better than what those scorelines said.
Yeah.
I mean, Grand Canyon lost to Youngstown State. I still think Purdue-Fort Wayne's better than Youngstown State.
Right.
And I mean, I could be wrong. We'll see it at least once this season.
Mm-hmm.
I assume that they'll play twice.
I don't think they have a true round robin.
Do they not?
I don't think
that's
so.
right. That's right. Good to see it twice, just to kind of get that transitive action going on. I still think the team needs a little bit more time to gel, right? And they start the team. Hoffman always starts the season off game.
Yeah,
that's just the way he schedules,
very intentional.
which is you're right, with intention. It gets them ready for later in the season. I'm optimistic that the Dominican game obviously is a major confidence boost after those 2 first tough games, which again I imagine done with intention.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's go out there and play 2 really tough games. Maybe play close, maybe win, maybe get blown out.
Mm-hmm.
But then we go in and play this D3 team where we can just do our thing. So I think that this team has a lot of promise. I mean, Mikhail Stevenson,
he's gonna be all league.
It is gonna be all league, right? He's just one of those guys. But again, just did not had a great game against Grand Canyon. Did not have a great game against Ohio State.
Yeah.
It happens. But I see a lot of promise in this team.
Yeah, different look. They don't shoot the 3 quite as well, but I think that they need this Ohio State. They need this Grand Canyon game. Like those are top 25 and a top 100 game.
Mm-hmm.
They need those. And then yeah, I think you're right. Like playing Dominican, like you really try and see like what your team can do in Ohio State, and then Grand Canyon, and then you go and play Dominican to see your ceiling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think you're right there. So most points ever. That's incredible. It's a lot of points, man.
It is. Let's go on to Purdue,
Mm-hmm.
the big brother of Purdue Fort Wayne. They moved down several spots in Torvik. They are 8th, down from 5. I think this is the lowest I remember Purdue being.
No, they were in the teens last year.
Were they?
I believe they were in the
but
teens.
I don't remember it,
last
so
year.
my point still stands. This is the lowest I remember them being.
Jaren famously will throw the "that I remember" caveat.
Yep. Hey, it's the easy out. It's the easy out. They did go 2-0 this week. That a win over Evansville, 82-51.
They literally ended the season at 15th last year.
I don't look at
Jaren doesn't remember that.
I don't look at those at the end of the season, right? I don't look at those.
I mean, we only mentioned it last episode.
Did we?
Yes.
I don't remember it.
That's all that matters. That's all that matters.
They won over Evansville 82-51. They won over Oakland 87-77. Bit of a tough game, that Oakland matchup. I think we predicted that it would be closer than people thought last week.
Greg Campy runs an incredible thing.
Greg Campy, he's a Hall of Fame coach, right? Like he knows how to beat really good teams. But
he spent 42 years at the same school. That's longer than anyone in college basketball. Not all those years were D1. They weren't D1 that whole time, but he's been there for 42 years.
Izzo's been there 40? No, Izzo's only been
something.
Yeah.
Before 2000.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I think the big thing here is Purdue really felt TKR's absence.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously is a very big piece. He is one of the best bigs in college basketball.
He's one of the best players in college basketball. He's preseason All-American, preseason All-Big Ten. Like, Braden Smith could not come off the floor in this game. Like, he had 29 assists, and 7 boards. He just could not come out of the game. Like, what's his name? Omar Meyer.
Can't put him in if you.
He just I don't know. I don't think he scored. Maybe it was not very pretty on the scoreboard there. It's just like literally when he came out, I was like, no, like get him back in immediately.
Yeah,
like, you need him in this game, and so really like wasn't it even at half, like 35-35 or something?
Pretty close to it. It was within 2.
I think it was.
Sure.
I think they hit a shot and like made it even.
I was locked in on the Ohio State Purdue Fort Wayne game at the bar.
Yeah,
I don't think they didn't have Peacock. Also,
you're getting old.
I'm getting old, according to Adam's mom. Yes, that is, but it's true. I'm 30. That's old.
Yeah, I mean, Trey Coffin-Red needs to be back, and like. I think the most surprising thing for the country is that Purdue beat Oakland by 10 and was in it. And like not the fact that they just beat them by 10, but that Oakland the previous game almost lost by 50 points.
Yeah.
To the co-favorite in the Big Ten.
Michigan.
One spot in Torvik ahead of them at the start of the season.
Yeah.
4th. And so it's like you see, hey, they lost by 50. We're gonna handle this just fine.
Yeah,
not even close. Jack Benter has been really good. He's been nice. I think he's gonna work himself into some heavy minutes here.
And I think that's courtesy of TKR being hurt.
100%.
Like that makes a big impact there. So, the optimism of like, okay, yeah, TKR's out. Okay, well, this is getting Benter early time to get on the court, play a little bit more, and develop, but also show the impact he's able to make. And Painter's one of those coaches that, like, when he sees a player make an impact,
mm-hmm.
he's gonna go to them more.
Yeah.
That's just how he is, right? So that's great for him.
You saw in the 2 games, you saw the 2 different Braden Smiths. You saw the Evansville, he did not need to score. He had 6 points, he had 11 assists. He didn't need to score. He chose to just set up his teammates. In Oakland, he was like, we got to win this game. Like,
Right,
I got to score. I got to set up, We kind of brushed over, but Fletcher Loyer in the Evansville game had a 30-burger, dropped 30 points in the season opener, which is impressive. Kind of shut up the haters.
Yeah. So that's he made 7 3-pointers in back-to-back home games, dating back to
Nice.
He's also just a first game of the season star. He's averaging 20 points and 58% from 3 in season openers over his career.
Pretty good.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
It's not bad. But I think a big thing that I noticed in the Evansville game, at least, right? I watched less of the Oakland game. My concern is Clough and Jacobson they just seemed kind of lost in the sauce for parts of that Evansville game. I mean, from a performance standpoint, they were all right, but when you purely based on the eye test, just watching them,
Clough was a lot better in the Oakland game.
Yeah, and I even wrote that down, is that he started to pull it together against Oakland, but that first game, both of them were just when you watch him, it's these guys are bad.
Yeah, he was doing. He was just really putting the stops down low. They're averaging, those 2 are averaging a pretty decent amount of blocks. I think 10 blocks in the 2 games between the 2 of them, which has been much needed rim protection. So, keep an eye on it. We're going to talk about a game that they've got coming up after in a few minutes here. So let's kind of move on so that we can get to that. Southern Indiana, we talked about a little bit when we talked about Butler. They went down from 300 to 310. They lost at Butler 88-58, and then they lost a very close one at home to VMI 78-74. Butler started down 17, had to burn 2 timeouts. Let's just not really dwell on that. We talked about the Butler side of it. That's really the only positive side that I like to focus on. And then VMI, they couldn't stop TJ Johnson. He had 32. Ismail Habib, a dude I don't even think we talked about in our preview of USI, had 26. Hayden Brown had 16 and 6 assists and 7 boards, like Braden Smith numbers, dang near.
Only we had some insider information.
I did ask, and it was like, hey, does this look like roughly your starting lineup? And the response was like, no. And then I was like, hey, we just recorded our USI preview. He was like, oh, dude, if you would have told me that, I would have given you actual information. I was like, it's all
Thanks.
right.
Thanks.
It's all right. I was like, it's all right. It's funnier this way when you just don't know anything.
I think a big thing overall about this team is that it's another team that just needs time to gel. A lot of new pieces, a lot of things to figure out. They're without the leaders they've had of the past, right? They don't have a Milky, they don't have a Campion that are out there just, what?
Milk.
Oh, I thought you said, well,
the milkman.
So that's obviously going to make a big impact. They don't have guys that, I don't want to say know the system, but know the playbook as well, at least to my knowledge, right? Guys that can be the coach on the court.
Yeah, there's way less carryover here. It's just
not your boy.
No, he's not carryover. He came from Valpo 2 years ago.
Right. That's why
Braxton Jones.
Braxton Jones, yeah.
And Josiah Dunham are kind of the leaders who came back.
I'm still really optimistic. This team is very athletic. I think it's one of the more athletic teams that they've had the last couple of years.
Yeah, through more than just the top 3.
Yeah, in terms of athletic depth. So I do think this team's gonna start to figure out again in the OVC, right? These are 2 opponents that are much tougher than most of the teams that they'll play throughout the conference season. And I think when it comes down to it, that's what matters most to a team like Southern Indiana is dominating through the conference, because that's gonna, that's what's gonna get them in the NCAA tournament. They're not gonna be a multi-bid league.
Yeah, and I think they gotta, they'll get there. They got time, but I like that they played Butler and VMI. Those are pretty tough teams.
These in-state transfers is really gonna fuck me up. But obviously, I know Aja Boy's name. I'm familiar with his game.
Right,
and it's just just
one school too early.
Yeah. But
he did a gap year, an Indiana gap year.
So
let's talk about Aja Boy's last school, Jaren.
Valpo. They moved down, unfortunately. 295 from 284 in Torvik. They did go 1-1 this week. They had a huge win over EIU, 66-63. We were at that, so we will talk about that. But then they lost at Kentucky pretty convincingly, 107-59.
Yeah.
Kentucky's just a tough opponent. Like, I don't know if we'll say much about that game.
We won't, because I want to focus on what they did really well. We were at this EIU game, this Eastern Illinois game. This is the one that we went to. Jaren was there live tweeting it. I got
the end of that game, trying to live tweet everything.
The game was awesome.
I deserve a raise.
Yeah, let's kind of talk about the game. I mean, Isaiah Barnes seems like a kind of get you a bucket type of guy. They went on a scoring drought at the second half. He kind of ended that. I think the game's not even close if they hit their free throws. They were broke from the free throw line, unfortunately, but they ended up not needing it because they closed it out. Their freshmen are going to be really good.
If they can keep these freshmen around for an extended period of time, I think Roger Powell is just going to do his thing and develop them like we've seen time and time again.
Mm-hmm.
I just really hope that they stick around.
Or that they stick around, or that like they really blossom at the end of the year. Because again, this is another team that just has to have an NBC run, and we saw all that blossoming of all right come throughout the year, and then finally at the Arch Madness, it all came together, and he just went absolutely nuclear. They've got a couple of guys that can do this.
Yeah. I mean, in general, right? The Arc didn't disappoint. I know, obviously, it is a smaller arena,
mm-hmm.
but I think that adds to the allure of it. That it feels basketball in Indiana, right? It feels like you want a tight atmosphere like that. Not very many seat backs, so if you have a bad back,
one side has them, one side doesn't.
You have
to
pay a little bit more, pay a little bit more, or be fortunate enough. I was concerned. I told you this beforehand. I was concerned about where we were going to be sitting, because your boy's back is not great. All back to that, getting old.
Yeah, I liked the arena though. They've got a track that goes around it up top that people are just walking laps on the whole time, which is
pretty
cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, which is cool.
Would like to see a little bit more student engagement.
I would. They had a student section. It was small. I mean,
I know that
it's the home opener.
I know that it's the home opener. It was a Tuesday night. But I mean, it was a Tuesday night. What else do you have going on other than going to the Arc?
Yeah, I talked to manager Zach, who was cutting up some film and stuff, and he said that it was a pretty typical crowd, which is a little bit disappointing, just because there just should be more people there. It's a team that has been, when Homer Drew was there, would pack the place.
Yep. And
there's a lot of pride in Valpo, and I think we got a little bit of an inside scoop from Ted. Was talking to us.
Ted McCourt.
Yeah, he was talking to us just kind of about change the name. A lot of people got mad. A lot of people kind of all the old heads stopped losing support. They don't really like the NIL, which is a thing with every school. Obviously, they don't like the NIL and the players transferring, but it definitely hurts a team like Valpo a lot more that has so much, just has so much tradition. And so much, it meant so much to the older fan base. And when things change and they can't invest in someone, they aren't going to care as much. And props to Roger Powell, because he is doing everything he can to engage the community. And I think he's doing an awesome job there. The Valpo Velvet Bar, delicious. I'm getting one next time. I'm getting one next time we go back.
I also am going to get one. I was hoping you'd offer me a bite.
Sorry.
But I could tell how much you enjoy it, but I didn't want to ask you for a bite. So I was I don't want to take this from
I would have
him.
Probably begrudgingly given you one.
I could see the joy in your face. It's I can't ask him. I want to. It looks so good.
It was just like a dilly bar, but it was the ice cream was creamier and fluffier, and then the outside was dark chocolate, which I'm a big dark chocolate guy.
I love dark chocolate. Yeah, that's what I was.
The superior chocolate.
Before we move on, though, I just want to give a big shout out to their entire staff. Right, we mentioned it earlier in the show. It was a very last minute decision to go down. We reached out to Coach McClung. We're like, hey, we want to come down. He's like, okay, reach out to these people. We reached out to him. He sent an email, got us in touch with the folks we need to get in touch with. They hooked us up. We got media credentials. They gave us media parking. They were just,
24 hours before the game.
yeah.
Morning
We
of
were
the
still
game.
figuring things out the morning of. Yeah,
Yeah, morning
it
of the
was
game.
one of those things that like they were very common. They came up and like talked to us, like you mentioned, Ted McCord, like very generous, very welcoming, great environment. I appreciate those things because we're just a couple dudes that like to talk about ball,
Yeah,
like to
and
support these teams, and like do
in
our best. And yeah, should we be a little bit more timely with these
well,
requests?
we didn't think we were
Absolutely.
gonna be able to get
Yeah.
there, but like
Yeah, but like
also,
the fact that they were able to,
yeah,
I don't want to say pull strings necessarily, but
get
accommodate.
something ready. Yeah,
Yeah.
ready quick for us, which is really cool. So I'd like to get back, for sure. And
I definitely think we'll get, and it wasn't that bad of a drive
no, this is a 2 hour drive.
on the most boring stretch of road in Indiana, but
Yeah, but
it was
at least
worth
you
it.
get
It was
some
worth it.
stops along the way.
Learned a lot of things on the road trip.
Yeah, Jared and I are awesome road trippers.
We
We're a good time.
yeah, we do well to co-pilot for each other. Usually I drive. I'd say most often I
I
drive.
think this is the only time I've driven,
Um
and I'm driving on Tuesday, and that's every other time it's been you.
yeah, which is nice change of pace for me.
Yeah,
I get to be the shotgun shotty. Uh let's move on.
yeah. This week, season 3, our very first Jimmy Chitwood Player of the Week was a very tough race. There was an early race, like Davion Bailey jumped out to a good lead at the beginning, and I was like, oh, I think it's gonna be him. And then the IU game happened, and the first half happened. I was like, it's probably gonna be Darren DeVries or Tucker DeVries. And then the second half happened. I was like, oh, now it just got tough. So the first Jimmy Chitwood of this year, Jimmy Chitwood Player of the Year, is Lamar Wilkerson from IU. He was very important in the win against Marquette. He had 23 points, most of them being in the second half, just all huge shots. He had 8 assists against a good defensive Marquette team, 0 turnovers, 8 of 19 from the field, 6 of 10 for 3, and an and one that he did an up and under, and he threw this ball like 10 feet above the hoop, 10 feet above the backboard, and it just perfectly landed in the hoop, and then had a nice smile at the camera. Ended up on No Context College Basketball, and just put Marquette away. So Lamar Wilkerson, our very first Jimmy Chitwood Player of the Week this year, and deservedly so.
All right. So now we move on to the games to be aware of next week in Indiana. Right? Last week all we talked about were games to be aware of because that's all there was to talk about since we did it in our previews. So now we talk about these teams. We've recapped what they did in week 1. Now we're looking forward to week 2. So what games will we be talking about on our next episode? So what games stand out to you that an immediate standpoint?
No, first, I mean, the one that we're going to be in attendance for, it's the Read to the Final Four game in Indianapolis at the Farmers Coliseum. This is IU Indy versus IUPUI Columbus. So that's going to be at 11 a.m. on Tuesday. We will be there. We will be sporting our super slick our Indianapolis jackets that we were so graciously given by the school, and going to be there. I guess we are taking my son, who's almost 2. I've been telling him about it. He's been saying bad at ball. I'm like, yeah. So he knows he's going. He's excited. So get ready to listen to a lot of Elmo and Sesame Street on the way down. But he's gonna have a ton of fun. We're gonna have a ton of fun, and we'll probably have a 6-7 moment with the crowd in the first half.
Yeah, I would expect.
So it should go
Or
crazy.
very early into the second half.
Yeah.
Yep, that is a big one. I'm very excited. They invited us down again, just as they did last year for opening game of the season. So they moved it back a week this year. Very excited. It's going to be excited. Obviously, they should clear pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
Division 2. Division 3?
I don't know.
NAIA?
It might be NAIA.
It is NAIA because they're in, I believe they're in the same conference as Grace and Francis.
Other than that, I mean, the day before Monday, I know we're going back a day, but like, there's almost an in-state matchup on Monday with Indiana State playing SIUE. That's because Indiana State is in Indiana, and SIUE has former Southern Indiana point guard Jack Campion. Indiana State is 6-point underdogs. This is a good OVC team that is going to be a test. You know, another road game, like second road game of the year. Under 6-point underdogs, would like to see them win this game and kind of prove that they can win on the road and get the non-conference off to a little bit better start.
Yep. A couple games on Wednesday. We've got Purdue Fort Wayne at Western Michigan. They are 1.5-point dogs. We just have our eye on this because it's Purdue Fort Wayne's just trying to get their first Division I win. So that'll be a big one. It is obviously close, projected to be close. So that'll be interesting. It'll kind of give us some insight on what they can do against similar opponents, as well as it gives us some insight on what Ball State might face in the MAC with Western Michigan. Evansville also Wednesday. I guess that game is at 7 p.m. Then an hour later, Evansville plays Middle Tennessee. That is a home game. It is an even spread right now, so it should be very exciting. It could go either way, but again, another team looking to get their first Division I.
Yeah, and you know, PFW should either feel good about playing Western Michigan or scared because Western Michigan just lost to a D2 team this week. They lost to Division II Northwood, 85-81. So either Western Michigan is really bad or Northwood is very good, and Western Michigan's gonna be mad about it and come in hot. Butler plays at SMU. They're underdogs, is just kind of crazy because SMU had like a really terrible loss, didn't they? They lost to somebody bad. Or did they not? I feel like they did. Apologize.
They
No, they're 2-0. They lost to someone else, I thought.
didn't lose. Played
It must be another team that they have. Anyway, they travel SMU. This is the return game of the home and home that they have. So 7-point underdogs. If Butler's legit, which I think that they are, they should handle this game and win. I would like to see them win on Saturday. And, you know, I think they just got to handle business. I think that they can absolutely win this game.
And then another game.
This is like the game of the week.
Yeah, this is our Indiana game of the week if we were to pick one. Purdue at Alabama. I believe, is this a neutral site or is this actually?
No, I think it's in Tuscaloosa.
Okay. So actually at Alabama. Purdue are 2.5-point underdogs. Purdue's real first test of the season. Obviously, we talked about how there's we saw glimpses of potential concern with TKR out. Alabama is a very good team. This is really going to tell, I think, the world and us what Purdue's capable of, right? As every year they play an off season or a early season tough opponent. Usually those games are like Purdue's gonna win. Pretty confident.
Mm-hmm.
I think this game is really one of those. It's like not quite sure. Obviously they're not favored, which is also kind of weird seeing Purdue in general not favored in a game. Whoops, I just screwed up my mic. Apologize if that audio came through to anyone.
But Alabama just did get a really good win against St. John's. A really good win in Madison Square Garden. So a home game for St. John's. And, you know, Purdue has not looked as impressive as we thought they would be. A lot probably because of Trey Kaufman-Renn being out. But it's going to be a real test. If Trey Kaufman-Renn is back, I think it's going to be a real dog fight and a really fun game. So that's our game of the week for sure. That's on Thursday, right? Yeah, that's on Thursday.
7 p.m.
7 p.m. So definitely tune into that one. And then...
And keep in mind, this spread does not factor in Trey Kaufman-Renn being.
Right.
So, he's in. They are take it with a grain of salt if you're using this to factor in any kind of betting. Because that definitely does make it. If the spread comes out on your favorite betting app and it is larger, but then you hear that Trey Kaufman-Renn is going to be back, then maybe get it while it's a bigger spread. But we don't give gambling advice because we are not good at gambling. So let's look at the other
Yeah, let's do a
49.
quick one. We've been here for a while, so let's kind of. I mean, you don't have to talk about everything, but I think the big story of the week was freshmen. What was freshmen? They were very good. Copeet was super good for Arizona. Can't remember the kid's name for North Carolina. Uh, but he was really good. And Kansas, like Darren Peterson was pretty good too. I think he had 22, but was the second best freshman on the floor. And AJ DeBonsa was good too. So like freshmen did really well, but like Koa Pete was there showing like, hey man, it's not just Darren Peterson, it's not just DeBonsa and Cam Boozer. Like we're here too. Koa Pete had like maybe one of the best freshman debuts. He's the first player since at least 2002 and 2003, as far as the records go, that were found to have 30 points, 5 or more boards, 5 or more assists, and 3 or more steals in their college debut. So it really might be like the best freshman first game that we've ever seen, and it was just really good game to see them take down Florida 93-87. What else? We don't have to hit on all these.
Yeah, a couple big things. Alabama dropped 1,007 points on St. John Garden.
Alabama IU Indy race to 2K,
which is funny because Alabama scored 107 like that or 103. That is the final score. How did the scorebook get so messed up that it was 1,007? I don't know, but it was hilarious. We had another race to 67. Iowa State had a school field trip day where there were students in attendance. Again, as we would expect, they went crazy when Iowa State hit their 67th point. We had an attempted shoe steal from Miles Rice. So
you want to be
word to Rashid Bello.
You want to be Rashid Bello so bad. We have Rashid Bello at home.
And then a bit of bad news for the Tar Heels. Today, Seth Trimble broke his forearm in practice running a drill.
Tough break.
So he'll require surgery. There's no timeline on when he'll be back, but he is a crucial piece in that North Carolina team. Just beat number 19 Kansas in Chapel Hill. So that's a tough break.
So let's talk about our games of the week. Monday, the 10th, our game of the week is Iowa State versus Mississippi State at 8 p.m. Just a good high major matchup. I think, Otzelberger's teams are always fun to watch. So definitely tune into that one.
Tuesday, we've got an absolute packed slate, the 11th, but we do have Kentucky at Louisville at 8 p.m. We've seen Kentucky play already. We'll see Louisville play Indiana teams a couple times, I believe, at least once in the coming weeks. So a big game to watch there. That game is at 8 p.m.
Tuesday's packed, man. There's so many good games.
Always like that. I love it.
Well, yeah, it's definitely like that while football's going on.
Yeah.
Because Mondays and Thursdays are kind of taken. So Wednesday, the 12th, our game of the day is St. Joseph's at Virginia Tech. Nicholas Advalis dropped 33 against Providence for Virginia Tech. He's a 6'9" freshman and just like popped off, and very, very impressive and kind of surprising to me performance. Maybe not to Virginia Tech fans, but tune into St. Joseph's, Virginia Tech. Good mid-major matchup, and you might watch some dude drop a billion.
Thursday the 13th, we've got a major rivalry game, Pitt at West Virginia. That's at 6 p.m. Both, pretty teams that are kind of on the come up, trying to right some historic past. So exciting game to watch there. It's always Morgantown always gets crazy for Pitt. So expect if you're a fan of West Virginia social media, maybe go check that out because I'm sure they'll put something out crazy like they did for the football game.
Friday the 14th, our game of the day is Arizona versus UCLA. That's at 10 p.m. Arizona showed that they can play with anybody, and UCLA is, kind of just on their way up with Mick Cronin. That should be a really fun game. That's a game that I'm glad is on the schedule because this is an old rivalry game that they used to have when they were both in the Pac-12 and the Pac-10 and all the Pac-8, whatever version of Pac
all
it
the
was.
Pacs.
I'm glad that they are continuing to do this. I want them to continue and play every year because Arizona UCLA is a game that I would always look forward to. and we just aren't guaranteed to get it at all. So, love that they did that.
Saturday the 15th, our game of the day, BYU versus UConn at 7 p.m. Obviously, aged by a dog. He's going to do his thing, so it'll be exciting to see.
Dog.
Ooh. Going to be exciting to see what he's able to do against, obviously, an always really well-coached UConn.
And then our last game, Sunday the 16th, is Auburn versus Houston. Not as exciting as if Bruce Pearl was still at the helm, but still a good game nonetheless. That's at 3 p.m. And then kind of like a runner-up was Florida versus Miami at 8:30, but that's during our showtime, overlaps with our showtime, so you can really only catch 30 minutes of that if you're a real one.
Yep. So now we're on to guess the game of the week.
Mm-hmm.
As a recap, Adam is 0-1.
Yes.
And I am 1-0.
Correct. Yeah, that's right. And you guessed first last time, so you have to give me the clue first this time.
I'll give you the clue. All right, so this week,
Professor Plum in the library with the lead pipe.
Wrong clue. So my guess the game of the week for week 2 of the season is it's getting chippy in the former land of Graves.
Land of Graves. Oh, I here's the thing. I almost picked this game. It's Central Michigan and South Alabama, and I can explain it because it's getting chippy. They're the Chippewas, and I was gonna use this clue, but I was gonna incorporate friend of the show Brooks Miller, since he's there, and then South Alabama, is Matt Graves was there, right?
That is correct. on the nose. The it's getting chippy. The Chippewas and the former land of Graves, former coaching spot for Matt Graves. That game is Thursday, November 13th at 11 a.m.
It was a good, nicely worded clue. I liked it.
It's kind of funny that back-to-back weeks it was my hint to you was one that you almost picked, and then your hint to me was one that I almost picked.
That's pretty funny. It definitely makes it like it definitely helps if you really look and think, because you're like, no, like that sounds like
had you not looked at that like that could be, it could go a couple different ways. I think it's not as
I don't think
obvious.
I would have got the Graves thing probably would have thrown me off, but I had looked at that one and I was like, I think I can incorporate this.
That's unfortunate for me. Then I hope I thought I did something there.
Okay. I gotta find it. Gotta find my notes app. All right. So how this works is I'm gonna give you a clue, Jaren, and you just have to figure out what game I am referencing here. Okay. So my guess the game of the week here is the Second City Showdown.
I don't even know what that could mean.
There's one city that's referred to as the Second City.
And I don't know that. Google second.
No. I can give you a hint, though.
Please.
Okay. The Second City, like if we're talking about historically.
Well, I think like Boston.
Okay, that's fair. No, not Boston. So historically, like the first city of, if you think of the United States historically, would probably be
Providence.
No, like New York, right? That's like the big city, right? The biggest city in the country, New York. So the second city could be. This is an old headline. It comes from an old newspaper headline. They referred to this city as the Second City because it was like a smaller, less cool version of New York. It's a big city, very big city.
Well, maybe like Chicago.
Okay, sniffing up the right tree, barking up the right tree here.
Okay, so Loyola, Chicago, and DePaul.
Dude, you got half of them. That's pretty close.
There's so many schools in Chicago.
No, it's technically one of them is not in Chicago, but they are Chicago's Big Ten team. They are Chicago's Big Ten team. That's what they're called. That's what they're called. They're in Evanston, but the Chicago's Big Ten team. The Second City Showdown is Northwestern at DePaul. That's at 8:30 on Friday, November 14th. I am doing a trend with my games, and I want to see if you'll ever guess it. When we get to the end of the season,
Does that apply to last week's games?
Yep. I have started a thing, and I'm going to do it every single time. And we'll see if you get it. But that brings us to an even 1-1. Yeah, I didn't know if you knew about the Second City. There's a stand-up, an improv club in Chicago called the Second City, based on that.
When I Google Second City, the only thing that comes up is the Second City comic.
Yeah. So it came from Chicago was referred to as the Second City, basically like their second fiddle to New York. But yeah, I thought you were gonna maybe get that it was Chicago, and then
the only thing about Chicago is it's the Windy City. You call it anything else, and it.
Right, but I thought if I said Windy City, you would get Chicago, right?
Right. Oh yeah.
Thought Second City would make it a little bit harder.
Yeah.
And then if you got Chicago, then it's like, okay, which Chicago teams? There's a few of them.
Yeah, and that's the one you picked isn't even a Chicago.
Don't tell them that.
That's why I didn't. That's like I was like, oh, okay, the two most prominent.
Yeah, I think that game's gonna be fun, dude. I think DePaul's actually gonna be pretty interesting this year. Just to say side note about that, but man, kind of last things, final words is I think that Omar Cooper Jr.'s catch might be the best catch I've ever seen in my entire life.
Correct.
Like that was just ridiculous. My sister-in-law brought it up to me today, and I was like, that whole drive just was insane.
A work of art.
And then to be capped off that way is like so cool. They're already selling merch about it. Like it is crazy. And man, last second plays by millimeters for IU to win against Penn State. Gonna go crazy.
Yeah, they do.
They go crazy.
They do.
And then that makes every time I bring up Omar Cooper, every time he does something, I text my brother because my brother played basketball with Omar Cooper Jr.'s dad.
That's Omar Cooper Sr.?
Yeah, that's how just so odd that I'm 30, he's 21.
Like that.
But there's and my brother, his dad. So nice. It's not a connection. I guess it is a connection. Not that I know the guy. The only time I've ever seen him in person from less than a football stadium to a football field was when we saw him play basketball. Yes. So there's the Indiana basketball connection back.
Yeah. Well, Lawrence North?
Yeah. When they came up and played Fort Wayne. No.
What?
Wouldn't. Stevenson was gone by then, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's a year older.
Yeah.
And they were seniors. Yeah. That would have been cool. All right. Well,
the clock is showing quadruple zeros. Time for us to get out of here. Thanks for checking in on the State of Basketball podcast. We will see you next time. And remember, in 49 states,
it's just basketball.